Hello and welcome to Faithfully Stampin' with Jennifer Helm. I am Jennifer Helm, the Faithful Stamper, an independent demonstrator with Stampin' Up. And today I have for you a fun fold card. This is a variation on a gatefold. And for this card, when you open it, you have little gates on the top and bottom that open. So definitely different from your standard card. Definitely a wow factor when you open it, but it is not complicated to make. So we will go ahead and get started and I'll show you how to make it. The first thing you will need is a piece of cardstock that is 4 1/4 by 11. And we are just going to score it twice to form the base of our card. So bring over your paper trimmer or your scoreboard, whatever scoring tool you have, and I'll leave this here for just a minute so you can see where I'm going to score it at. So you can take a screenshot or if you're taking notes. So on the 11-inch side of your paper, you're going to score at 2 3/4 and then 8 1/4 inches. And just like that, that's all you need to form the base of your card. So go ahead and move your scoreboard or your paper trimmer back out of the way. And what I do after I score it is flip it over and then fold in the side panels. Give them a little press. You can use a bone folder if you like, or just your fingers, but this is the basis for your card. You can set that aside for a moment. Next, you are going to need 2 pieces of cardstock that are 5 1/4 inches wide by 1 7/8 inch tall, and then 2 pieces of designer series paper which are 5 inches wide by 1 5/8 inches tall. And just a quick little note, give you a second to take a screenshot or write that down if you need the measurements. You can also find them on my Facebook page over at The Faithful Stamper. I post supply lists for the videos that I do Monday and Friday for all my projects. Just something to keep in mind as you're cutting your designer series paper, remember you're going to be applying these horizontally to your card, so watch the direction of your print. Just make sure you have it going in the right direction. So I'm going to layer these together using some Stampin' Seal adhesive. I love this adhesive for card making. This is our Stampin' Seal. We also have Stampin' Seal Plus, which you'll see me use in just a minute, which is great for 3D projects, and it's just a little bit stronger to keep things together. So here we go. So just layer these together with a small border around them. Give it a press. And now this is probably the trickiest thing you're going to do when assembling this card, and it just requires a smidge of thought. So it's not really tricky. What you're going to do is lay these pieces on the front of your card. But obviously you don't want to glue them all the way across. So what you have to do is remember when you're applying glue to your panels, or Stampin' Seal Plus as I'm going to do in a moment, you're going to put glue on the top left side of your top strip and the bottom right side for your bottom panel. And remember, you're not going all the way across. So what I'm going to do, this is a little trick you can use, is flip them over. This one I want to glue over here, so I can take my Stampin' Seal Plus. This is just a little stronger in this way. I know these panels aren't going to pull off the front of the card. I promise these adhesives work. Mine are camera shy. Every week. I am just going to use my center seam here on the card as a guide so I know where to keep my glue. And then flip it over and leave a little border on the side and the bottom. You might want to check your panels before you glue them down and see if there's one you like more on the top or the bottom. Remember, you're going to cover the middle so you can just see what shows in case you want to reposition. And then remember to put your glue on the opposite side. Apologize for turning that all around if my glue would ever behave itself. So there we go, give that a good press, and then when you open the card, you've got your little gates. So now you can go ahead and set this to the side, and I forgot to mention, but my card base is Balmy Blue. This is Mango Melody cardstock, and the Designer Series paper coordinates with the Peach Suite. And here is the stamp set that goes along with it. It's sweet as a peach, and we're going to use several of the images on our card in just a moment. And this does have a matching die set. The peach dies coordinate beautifully with that paper, so you can cut out the large peach or the trio of smaller ones. I was thinking these kind of look like they could be cherries as well as small peaches, so totally up to you. So now I'm going to bring out my Stampin' Pierce mat. I need a little cushion because the stamps that I'm using are photopolymer, and they don't have a built-in cushion like our red rubber stamps do. And the inks that I'm using today are Balmy Blue, Pale Papaya, and Soft Succulent. And so I'm going to start with my envelope. I decided for my envelope I'm going to use the floral image that comes with the stamp set and just accent my corner. I have two scalloped rectangles that I cut from the Stitched So Sweetly die set. These scalloped rectangles and anything with stitching are just some of my favorite dies that we have. This is Calypso Coral, and then this is Pale Papaya I'm going to layer on top. And if you're wondering where my colors came from, one of the great things that Stampin' Up! Does for us in the catalog is they list the colors that coordinate with the Designer Series paper. So you don't have to flip back and forth through the catalog trying to figure out what color green it might be or what color peach. You can go right to the catalog and there's a listing of the colors right there. So this is the Pale Papaya, and I'm going to use Balmy Blue ink to match my card base. And my sentiment for the front is going to say, "Have a peachy day." So stamp that. And then I'm going to go back to that floral image I just used and do an all-over design here. Just wanted to perk it up a little bit, just to have a little something on that panel. I'm going to set that aside for 1 minute and stamp the insert for my card. This is a piece of Whisper, it's basic white, used to be Whisper White, now it's basic white. That is 5 1/4 by 4, and I am going to use it in the horizontal orientation. So for my inside sentiment, I'm going to go back to my Balmy Blue ink and use a happy birthday stamp. Right there. Then I'm going to stamp the top corner with that floral image. But what I want to do is bring in that peach design from the front, and I'm also going to decorate the front of the card with an additional image. I'll show you in a second. And I'm going to stamp the large peach here at the bottom. This is one of our distinctive stamp sets, so you'll see here in a moment. It sort of looks like I didn't get enough ink on the stamp, but actually this is the way it's meant to be. It's supposed to look modeled like the skin of a peach would. So just keep that in mind. The distinctive stamps are some of the most beautiful that we have. And then finally, I want to add my little leaf stem, but I don't want a really dark color kind of drawing your eye down to that bottom corner. So what I'm going to do is take the Soft Succulent ink that we have. This is one of our new in colors. I'm going to stamp my leaves in the Soft Succulent, but before I stamp on my actual insert, I'm going to stamp on a scrap piece of paper I have off to the side, and then stamp. So it takes some ink off the stamp, and then it's just a much lighter color that doesn't draw your focus away from the sentiment on the card. And so now that insert is ready to go. So I'm going to bring my card base back over and open it up and just glue the insert into the card with my persnickety adhesive. I used this all day today and it didn't give me a bit of trouble, and now that I'm live on camera, it does not want to work. It never fails every week, no matter how much I yell at it. So go ahead and put your insert here on the middle of the card. And then you can fold closed your little gates. So what I'm going to do is layer these rectangles together. Now I would not go much bigger with whatever die cut or punch you use for the inside. You obviously don't have to use scalloped rectangles. You can use any shape that you like. But if you do much bigger, it's going to be very difficult to open the card. So just keep that in mind. And I'm going to layer these pieces flat. You could definitely add dimensionals if you prefer. Totally up to you. I decided for this particular card, I'm going to lay these pieces together flat, and then I'm going to glue this panel on the card flat as well. So when you're gluing your shape to the card, you want to glue it just on the top panel. So keep your glue to the top of your shape, or dimensionals if you want to use the dimensionals. So I'm going to keep my glue right to the top. And then when I go to put this together, I'm going to make sure that that part with the glue on it stays on the top panel only. Now once you put this on, you can double check to make sure you haven't glued anything shut. But I'll warn you, you're going to think you glued it shut, but you probably didn't, because this piece now wants to hold this gate in place. So just give it a little tug and it will open up. But then you can just lift that up and tuck it back under. So now I'm just going to do a little bit of decorating to finish the card. I die cut one of the large peaches as well as one of the peach stems before I came on camera. So I'm going to flip these over and use some dimensionals on the back. I'm going to use 2 large dimensionals on the large peach and then switch to the mini dimensionals for the leaf and stem. I could have used just 1 large one, but I liked having it balanced with 2. Peel the backing off my dimensionals, and I'm going to add this peach right here on the front. If you have a shape that's going to overhang a little bit, just mind where you put your dimensionals so that you're not gluing your card shut. I say that because been there, done that before. And for this peach stem, one thing I like about this and the way it's cut, I can actually tuck this little bit of the stem behind the center of the peach and then keep the leaves in front. So it just gives it a different look. And then for one final touch, I have a pack of our genial gems. These are beautiful embellishments that we have. It's got beautiful green gems as well as these lighter colored ones. I can't think of how I want to describe them, but they all have flecks of gold in them, which give it a beautiful little shine. Champagne, that's the word I've been looking for to describe these. It's kind of a champagne color. So what I'm going to do is use my Take Your Pick tool and just add 3 of these genial gems to the front of the card. I like to do things in 3s or sometimes 5s, but for this I'm going to do 3. Just to give that card a little sparkle, a little bit of bling. And so there we have our very impressive but very simple to make gatefold card. And then don't forget your envelope here. So I've got my beautiful peachy card ready to go. Now I do have some more samples to show you. This card can be great for any occasion. And it is May 2021, so our next holiday coming up is Father's Day after Memorial Day. So I made a manly card with some neutral DSP, and this is a die cut from our well-suited suite of handsomely suited stamp set and the matching suit and tie dies. And then when you open it up, I have my Father's Day message here. So this can be used for men, and obviously here you can use whatever shape you like on the front of the card. And then I wanted to play with some baby cards and some of our host exclusive products, which is the DSP here on this card, and then the Prince and Princess stamp set is a host exclusive. So if you host a show, whether it be a catalog demonstration or a Facebook demo or a live in-person demo if you're in the Maryland area, you can use your rewards to buy this beautiful stamp set. I love it. It's very whimsical. It has this beautiful swan and the crown that you can pop on her head, and it comes with a frog image as well. So lots of fun there if you're into fairy tales. So there is the front of the card with one of our scalloped rectangles from the Scalloped Contours die set. And then when you open it up, I decided to repeat the image from the front of the card in a different, more subtle color ink, and then added my message on top. And then I decided to do one more baby card with another new set, which is called All for Baby. And I did this one differently. I did not use a central die cut shape for the middle of this card. This stamp set comes with this clothesline image as well as the little pegs you can use to hang the die cut clothes. So I decided to forego the central design piece here so that I could focus kind of on the clothesline idea. So I really am tickled with how this came out. And I simply die cut the clothes, and then I watched where I put my dimensional so that I wasn't gluing the panels shut. So when I open them up, you can see how the little baby clothes on the line open on one side of the card, and there's that inside piece. So there you have our gatefold variation. I hope you enjoyed learning how to make this card and seeing the different samples that you can make for any occasion. I'd love it if you would subscribe to this YouTube channel. And if you're a fan of Facebook, you can pop over to The Faithful Stamper on Facebook and follow me there as well. I do live videos twice a week on Mondays and Fridays. Thank you so much for joining me today. Take care. Happy crafting.